So let me talk to you, man. Let me talk to you. So check it out. Have you ever compared or held up a $20 bill next to a fake $20 bill? If I were to offer you this 20 or a fake 20, which one would you want? Of course, you're going to want the real 20. Why? Because a counterfeit $20 bill only has value until someone inspects it. I just said something. We're living in a time with a whole bunch of people who are counterfeit characters. They present themselves in one way, but they're very different from that in real life. Whether it's in school, it's online, social media can help you look better and happier than you really are. You can have material possessions and money and put that online and let people around you see it. And in order to make them believe that you are more successful than you really are, you can put filters on your phone in order to make yourself look better than you really look, and so on and so forth. The challenge with that is that you could spend your whole life pretending to be something and miss out on becoming everything God created you to be. See, the tragedy is not getting caught cheating. To me, the tragedy is spending all your time pretending to be someone that you could have become in real life. All the time you waste pretending to be someone that you're not is time you could be using to actually become that person. Proverbs chapter 10 says something that speaks to this, and it spoke to me. It says, whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever's path is crooked will be found out or will be made known. First of all, the word is calling us to walk in integrity. Integrity is not a one-time thing. It's an actual walk. The word is cholek. It refers to a way of life. And integrity in Hebrew is tom. Tom is being translated as integrity, and tom actually means completeness or wholeness or undivided. And so that's why I think the translators use the word integrity, because it comes from the same root word as integer. An integer is a whole number, 1, 2, 3, 4. In other words, to have integrity is to be a whole person, not a fraction of a person, not a person with decimal points in your life. No, to have integrity is to be a whole person whose public self matches his private self, whose public perception and image is not inconsistent with how that person is behind closed doors. Who you are in public is not much different from who you are at home. To have integrity is to not be two-faced. Now, don't get me wrong. Integrity in the Bible is not talking about moral perfection. It's not talking about perfection. It's talking about wholeness. It's not saying that you can't have parts of yourself that are private. It's not saying like your marriage, your sex life with your wife, with your spouse, with your husband, the private conversations you have, your prayer life. Integrity is not about having no privacy. It's about having no fake identities. It's about not being two-faced. It's about being who you are in private is who you are in public, and vice versa. Throughout my career of being a public speaker, being in ministry, preaching in churches all over the country, speaking on stages and at conferences all over the world, I was determined to make sure that the person people saw on stage in a pulpit was consistent with the person they saw off the stage, out of the pulpit, in my everyday life. I was determined for my children to see that I was the same guy in public that I am in private. I want my kids to see me on stage and recognize that that's still dad. Why does that matter? Because many ministers and people are taught to be characters before they're taught to have character. Many people taught to perform and behave a certain way before they actually are that way. So if you can hoop, if you can tune up, if you know how to say it, if you know how to move people's emotions, if you know how to get the crowd worked up, if you know how to raise a praise, then that is more important than whatever you're doing privately, whatever you're doing in your personal life. And I just disagree with that. I've met many big name, famous preachers who in private, I didn't like them as people. Some of them were money hungry, some of them were rude, some of them were just not very kind people, very egotistical, had God complexes. And then there were many others who are actually fantastic, wonderful shepherds. But I never wanted to participate in anything that required me to perform. I'm not acting for anybody. I'm not trying to be something that I'm not. I'm doing my best to be my best for God, and I'm doing my best to be a good witness for Him. And so if that means me sharing some of my flaws, I have no problem with that. Many pastors are afraid to tell the truth about what they're struggling with their congregation, because they're afraid that people will judge them. They'll start a movement to get them thrown out or replaced. And so many pastors are struggling and lonely. And I just said, I'm not going to do that to myself. I'm not going to isolate myself. I'm going to be honest with my wife and my inner circle about what I'm going through, what I'm struggling with. And we're going to work through these things together. We're going to pray about these things together so that I can be my best for my wife, for my kids, for the public, for the world. I want to be my best. I don't want to just be pretending to be something that I'm not while I privately struggle with some stuff, while I'm privately doing some stuff. And so the word here is wholeness. Whoever walks in integrity, whoever walks in wholeness, that person, the Bible says, walks securely. Now, securely just means that you don't have to be stressing or worried that you're going to be found out, because who you are in private is also who you are in public. There's nothing to be found out. You don't have to remember any lies you told. You don't have to remember any dirt you did. You don't have to lie about anything, because you are living transparently. You're living with integrity, and people can see that. And so that person, you can walk around just and breathe easy. For example, when I was in college, I did not have a driver's license. And my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, she begged me to get a license. I said, look, I've been driving since I was 11 years old. I know how to avoid the cops. I know how to drive through the back streets. I know how to get away. Like, I'm not worried about that. And if they ever pull me over, I know how to get away from them. I'm going to run. Like, that was my mentality. I'm from Long Beach, California, and grew up in the hood. And so, you know, one of the only things that was wrong growing up was getting caught. And so she convinced me to get a license. And when I got my driver's license for her birthday, that's how pitiful I was able to drive around with confidence, without fear, without anxiety. If a cop pulled up, I felt relieved, like I'm actually good. Like, I won't go to jail. I'm not breaking the law. So whoever's walking in integrity is walking securely. That's what I felt when I was driving with my new license. When you're living with integrity, when you live a life of integrity, there's nothing to hide, and you can have peace of mind. But there's another person here. There's a person who twists reality. The word is, the one whose way is crooked will be made known. The word in Hebrew is me'akesh, the one who twists reality, the one who manipulates the truth, the one who is trying to trick people, the one who is trying to present themselves as something that they're not. Those people, the Bible says, will be found out. Actually, the phrase is will be made known, will be made known. Why does that matter? Because the person who's living with integrity is already known, so there's no need to expose them. But the person who is twisting reality, the one who is manufacturing this image, this brand, if it's not true to who they are, that person will eventually be made known. The cover will be pulled off. The lights will be turned on, and they will be exposed. And so if you're using AI to make yourself look smarter than you are, you will be exposed. If you are using filters to make yourself look better than you really are, than you really look, you will be made known. Same thing with your credentials. If you're claiming to have earned a bachelor's or a master's or a doctorate and you did not, If anyone starts digging, anyone starts looking into your credentials, anyone goes online and starts looking into the veracity of your claims, if you have not earned those things, you will be found out. You will be made known, and it will hurt your credibility. Same thing with sports. If you just show up on Friday night and you haven't practiced, you haven't lifted, you haven't studied your playbook, you will be exposed. The time you waste pretending to be someone you're not is time you could be using to actually become that person. And the greatest tragedy is that you waste your entire life trying to be something you're not when you could have been actually working to become that person. To become that person, whatever it is. If you want to be a doctor, work toward the doctorate for real. Don't be downloading stuff. Don't be cutting corners, man. Don't be trying to get these little fake degrees and putting them on your resume, on your credentials, on your website, on social media. Anybody who knows better is going to dig and expose you, and you're going to hurt your credibility, and you will be made known, and you might not be able to recover from that with people, with your business. Same thing in every area of your life. The truth of who you are will come out. Walk in integrity so you can walk securely rather than twisting reality and ultimately being made known and exposed. That's a word. That's a word, man. And so if you're watching this today and it blessed you, added any value to your life, just type whole in the comments, WHOLE in the comments. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your attention. I am your friend, Dr. Manny Scott, and I'll talk to you soon. God bless you.